No one ever talks about what men go through because, quite honestly, men are strong enough to not sit there and complain about anything, which is a blessing in itself. But we're living in an ego driven world. We all believe we are including something. We have a voice. We are important. We all feel important. We all have a purpose. We all feel that there is some drive in us to make our mark on the world.
Nobody cares about men's problems. If society did care about men's problems, everything would be so much more different today. But everything from the education system, the workplace, and even Christianity, it caters more to females than to men. Okay, men have become second-class citizens essentially. Okay, men are shamed for being weak and talking about their emotions, but when a man steps into his masculinity and does what he's supposed to do, he is also shamed. So you can't win. You cannot win either way. And people wonder why millions of men are walking away from Western society. Guys, it's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back on Andy Guy's YouTube channel. Guys, if you haven't heard of Andy Matrix, check me out on Andy Matrix Gaming. I talk about anime, gaming content, Japanese culture, and other social problems, right? So if you're interested in any of those things, make sure to click the link in the description and follow me at, follow my YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow over there. I appreciate it very much. Guys, also make sure to follow Angry Guy on Rumble because YouTube has become the censor station. And there's more freedom on Rumble. And Angry Guy's uploading new content over there that he's not allowed to upload on YouTube. So go and click the link in the description. Check him out on Rumble. And everybody, times are hard. Layoffs are here. We have gone through millions of layoffs from 2024 all the way to 2025. It has been recorded that there's about 7 million people with 7 million people that are unemployed. And a lot of people are going to have to start their own side hustle, start their own little business in order to survive, right? And it's getting harder and harder to find another job. I mean, you've seen the videos. There's people that have applied to 1,000, 2,000 applications, the 2,000 jobs, and still have not heard anything back. So as times get hard, people are gonna have to, start their own little business. So what better business to start than an online business? That's why Angry Guy created the Angry Content Creator Academy, where he'll teach you how to create your own digital product, create your own online business, and get closer and closer to saying goodbye to the 9 to 5. So click the link in the description. Check out the Angry Content Creator Academy. Now, let's get on with the show. Okay, guys, so nobody really talks about men's problems. Nobody really talks about the things that men go through. Nobody really cares. And but in a lot of the programs in society that used to help out men, even the churches, like they just no longer do that. They no longer do that. It's been like this for the longest time. And at least in the old days, men were, in the old days, men didn't really talk about their emotion, but at least they were respected and given the authority they deserve. Nowadays, they just want you to shut up and work. Go to work, pay your taxes, I don't know, go watch football or soccer, baseball, and I don't know, drink your beer at Buffalo Wild Wings with your buddies, shut up, go to work and pay your taxes, and that's it. You have no authority. And that's basically where we are in society today. And so today, I have Kara Lotan. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. I think it's Lotan. And she's going to be talking about why nobody talks about what men are going through in our society. So let's go ahead and check her out. Here we go.
No one ever talks about what men go through because, quite honestly, men are strong enough to not sit there and complain about anything, which is a blessing in itself. But we're living in an ego driven world. We all believe we are including something. We have a voice. We are important. We all feel important. We all have a purpose. We all feel that there is some drive in us to make our mark on the world, especially from the internet, social media, having a platform to present yourself. We all believe that we are something that is higher than who we really are.
Yeah, you know what? I really agree with her on this one. There's definitely a lot of main character syndrome, right? Main character syndrome. And you know, from what I remember, it didn't used to be this way, right? It didn't used to be this way. I think, most people knew where they stand, most people, not everybody was this selfish. Now, selfishness is a human trait. It is like, human nature to be selfish, but I think this is the most selfish society that we are currently living in. And I like to say it was the baby boomers. I like to say it was the baby boomers, but I mean, they kind of, dare I say, they kind of set us up to where we are now. But anyways, um, and yeah, it's especially a lot of females. They have like this main character syndrome, thinking that, well, they are more important than they are led to believe. That they have a much more higher purpose, and they cannot settle for, like, having a family or having kids. Like, that's like, that's for losers. No, I have a higher calling. I cannot do that. You go and do that. Yeah, okay. Let's see how that goes. Let's go back to the video.
And quite honestly, I can't sit here and say from a man's perspective, but I can tell from observation that men go through things that are not even said. They're not talked about. Women don't care. Okay, that is just point blank, period. Why no one talks about it. Women mainly, we don't care. We truly don't. We have our own issues. We believe that our traumas and our problems are bigger than everyone's. And that's a first sign of having a highly inflated ego.
So what she described here is basically modern day feminism. We have highly inflated egos, thinking that their problems are more important than men's problems. But what I'm wondering with this girl is she? I mean, you can kind of tell she's being genuine, but nowadays there's a lot of chameleons, right? A lot of chameleons. I don't know if I should call them pygmies, right? I don't think being a pygmy is bad, but because online telling the truth is profitable, right? Telling the truth is profitable. So a lot of people tell the truth so that they can grow on social media, kind of like, Pearl, Pearly Things, her YouTube channel, Pearl Davis. Kind of how she grew on social media, right? By telling the truth. But Pearl herself, she doesn't embody, right? She doesn't embody the traditional woman that she is always talking about. So I'm wondering if this girl is just here to, like, kind of like, get a lot of likes, comments, and subscriptions and views, or is she here to actually spread a message and spread positivity and change? That's what I'm wondering.
To think that your problems are above anybody's, that's ego. And I've said in another video, an ego is dangerous. An ego will deteriorate your personality to the point where no one likes you. Yeah. And that's why most women are alone. Most women are bouncing guy to guy because men can see through their selfishness. Your actions are who you are. You can say you are caring, you can say you're this soft spoken woman, but your actions are you. So if all of your actions are tied to yourself and building your own empire, building some sort of ego driven purpose, men see through that because, quite honestly, men do the things that they have to do. Not every single man has the luxury to drop everything and go follow their dreams. But women, they'll do that in a heartbeat.
You know what? I am really glad that she said this. I'm really glad that she said this because, um, you know, modern day women, they complain about the patriarchy. They complain about yada yada yada. The patriarchy. This men are abusive. Yada yada yada. But what they really don't seem to understand is that the reason why they can do the things that they do is because men built this. We built this whole thing, right? The streets, the houses, the cars. The electric poles, the plumbing system, the water system, the heating system, is men doing this type of work, right? That's why society functions the way it does, right? And that's why they can go out and be independent, get their own apartment and their own job, because we designed it to be this way so that people can be comfortable. But that comfort is dying. So yeah, she's definitely right saying that a woman will sacrifice her family for her own happiness. A man will sacrifice his happiness for his family, and that is the design of God. See, God gave men authority for this very reason, because men are supposed to be leaders. Now, not every man is a good leader, obviously. There's a lot of abusive men out there. But God designed men to be leaders. That's why men sacrifice their own joy and happiness for their family. Their joy is seeing the family happy, like Jesus Christ, right? And one of the reasons women feel comfortable doing this is because there's no accountability, okay? In our modern world, there's no accountability for them. Or the responsibility is still put on the men while they go and, go dancing and jumping towards the sunset. Like guys can't do that, right? And but I think that's changing, especially with this administration, with the Trump administration. I think 50% of Gen Z girls like want to leave America, right? So the very system that was supporting them turned on them, right? Um, because for the longest time, the government was funding feminism and a whole bunch of other like female programs, right? But now the system is turning on them, and and eventually, what's going to happen? I mean, some people are saying that, especially the way that America's going, that we're heading towards the bridesmaid, yeah, the bridesmaid dystopian future, and eventually, if women refuse to have children, like the government is just gonna start, forcing them to have children. You know, call this a conspiracy theory, call this, whatever you want to call it, but I see it happening. I see it happening. It looks like they're setting the stage for this to happen. As the government begins to betray, the woman that was working for them, that they work with, this is what I see happening. Another thing that I wanted to say about the ego, because Carol was talking about women with big egos, and this is very, very true because they'll be talking about how, how they want a good man, this and that, and that the world is better run by women because women are nicer, they're much more gentler. That the world is better in the hands of females, and yet if you see what is happening now that we have so many females in power, everything is crumbling. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? I mean, I hate to say it, but it's the more females we have in politics and in as CEOs and running all these organizations, things seem to just keep diving and diving and diving. And one of my favorite examples of this was Star Wars. All right, ever since Kathleen Kennedy took over Star Wars, it has been just a plummet. It's just like an eagle diving straight into the ground. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy pretty much just took a shit on Star Wars and called it called it a masterpiece. A lot of people will say that, oh no, it's not her fault. It's the director. Well, I mean, she was in charge of the project. She was in charge of the whole thing. You know. But anyways, yeah, the Star Wars franchise is over, guys. And guys, before we continue, guys, if you're seeing everything that's happening in the world right now, there's a lot of layoffs, millions and millions of layoffs. It's been reported that there's about 7 million people unemployed, and I think that number is going to increase. A lot of these corporations, companies, they show no sign of stopping the layoffs. As a matter of fact, it looks like they're gonna double down on layoffs. Get rid of more people, right? And as more Americans, more people are losing their jobs. They're going to become homeless. They're going to be looking for ways to make money, start their own side hustles, their own businesses, any way that they can. And what better way to start your own business than doing it online, building an online business, which is why Angry Guy created the Angry Content Creator Academy, where he's going to show you how to build an audience online. Make the kind of content that he does to build an audience, like YouTube, TikTok, video creation. Starting your own website, creating a digital product that you can sell directly to people and start generating an income and, start your journey on getting, saying goodbye to the 9-to-5 jobs, essentially. So guys, click the link in the description and check out Angry Guys Content Creator Academy. Click the link in the description, and now let's move on with our video.
Women will do that in a freaking heartbeat. There's only a select few of men that will do that. And quite honestly, it's like jumping on the edge into the unknown for a man, because it's not your typical storyline for a guy, So to say no one talks about what men go through, it's really the ignorance behind it. Women truly don't understand because we're so self-deluded. And the crazy part is being, a woman that goes on social media, I see the videos. I see the marketed feminist type of videos where, it's F men, you're the reason why. Women are so quick to relate to that. They're not relating to a man's problems. It's actually a choice. It's a choice to relate to someone. It's a choice to understand them. And women are just totally turning the cheek. We don't care. We're just like, you know what? I have all the abundance. I can do what I want. I can build my own empire. I can make my own money and marry a funny man. Yeah.
So I want to tell you a quick story, and I'm not gonna make it too long, but I've had many cases, many cases from the time I was like 17, 18 years old all the way to like my mid to late 20s. I have met women who say that it's okay for a man to express himself, to express his emotions, for a man to talk about his feelings, yada yada yada, freaking yada, right? Men should talk about their emotions, their feelings, and and they will say I will support a man that does that, yada yada yada. And then when I actually did that, guess what happened? Immediately they were absolutely turned off by the fact that I did that. Gee, I wonder why. See, it always sounds good on paper. It always sounds good on paper, but like, like a lot of these females that they try to make men more feminine, right? They try to make men to be more like women, like to be more emotionally expressive, right? They do this to their own sons, by the way. Like they're the young boys. They do this to their sons, right? And they tell them that it's okay to do that. And then when the son grows up, he grows up to be kind of like a sissy, right? Uh, and then when they meet a man that's actually like that, they're turned off by it. They're absolutely turned off by it. Like they want the guy to shut up and like help them with whatever it is that they need help with. This has happened many, 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 many times to me. And I learned the hard way, and that's why I just say, you know what, screw it. I'm not doing that again. I'm not doing that again because whenever I do it, I get shamed for it and humiliated for it. But like, hey, didn't you just tell me that a man should express his emotions? Like, what? What? They're so contradicting. So contradicting. And that's why, and don't get me wrong, and I love women. I have a girlfriend, I have a Filipina. But when it comes to taking dating advice, many times I refuse to take advice from girls because I always think it's advice that leads you to failure, or rather, it's advice they're telling you what they would do as a female, but it doesn't always work for men. So you need another man to give you advice. That's the problem.
Yeah. That's the reality we live in. And a lot of men, that's their reality. Men feel practically used. That's just my observation. Men are used and then thrown to the side. It's like women, once they get with some guy that they actually are really interested in, they take advantage, use anything that they can to get out of them, and like whatever necessary, whether they learn something from them, whether they get something of material from them, or just straight up, have a trauma through them. They have a lesson to learn from a man. They take that trauma and lesson and they completely 360. They 360.
Okay, I had to stop it right there. I had to stop it right there because this reminded me of something. It's like I don't understand why because if you read self help books like Rich Dad Poor Dad, I don't know, how to influence how to talk to people, right? How to make friends and influence people by Dale Carnegie, Zig Ziglar's books, any type of like self help books. The whole point of a self help book is to improve your life and change your behavior, right? But many times, whenever I try to help a girl like with something, I don't understand why it's like when they're supposed to learn a lesson, what they do is that they just flip it They just flip it, and it's like they turn it in a way where like it's somebody else's responsibility. You know what I mean? It's somebody else's responsibility. It's like they flip it instead of saying, you know what, this is my fault. I should try to change. No, it's, oh well, I did this because of this person, or I did this because of you, Andy Matrix. It's like the lack of self-reflection is absolutely like mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. It's like the narcissism is so extreme. I'm actually amazed. Like, this is one of the reasons why the pickup artists exist, right? Like people like David D'Angelo, Mystery, RSD, Neil Strauss, The Game, you know, that book. This is why the pickup artist community was created in the 2000s and into the 2010s, and started dying once we enter, you know, in the 2020s. Now the pickup artist industry is pretty much dead. Pickup artist industry. But the reason why the whole pickup artist industry was created was to understand the female mind so that we can get laid. And even afterwards, even after that, like guys were still like amazed at all the crazy psychology they found. All the crazy psychology they found, like about females. Like even guys that have had sex with like hundreds of girls, they still look at females and they're like, shit, I feel like I still don't completely understand them. And that makes me laugh. That makes me laugh because I think it's a waste of time to spend that much time, you know, chasing, just chasing females and really and really commit to something more serious. You guys understand what I'm saying? You know, like female psychology is like on another level. Like men are so simple. Men are so simple, and women know that men are so simple. But it's like they need to make things difficult because their emotions are more important than logic. You understand? Their emotions are more important than logic. That's one of the reasons why girls go after the bad guys. Because the bad guys, they make them feel something. Like, oh, this guy's making me feel a lot of things. I'm going to go after him. Forget stability. Forget starting a family. You know, forget finding a father who's going to be responsible for the children. Nah. It's absolutely outstanding. You know, and I think there's like hundreds of books written on female psychology, the things that females do. But anyways, let's go back to our video.
Not in a good way. To say that you can 360 in a good way, think about that. 360 is you are landing in the same spot. 360 in a circle, you're landing in the same spot. So it's really just abusing the perspective that you gain from a man. That's what women do. Women will take advantage of a man and then pretend that it's her idea, pretend that it's her existence. And that's very masculine. It's very, all these women are very masculine nowadays, and they love to say that it's this healing feminine energy, and I just don't believe that crap. I don't believe it. It's bullshit. It's BS. Because a true feminine woman who is not full of pride, full of ego, and full of, feeling like she has to represent something in life, will submit.
And that right there is a problem. Like a lot of women nowadays, they don't know how to be feminine. They don't even, I don't think they know how to spell feminine. And I'm exaggerating, obviously. But especially here in America, if you look at a lot of American families, like the mother, she doesn't prepare the girl for marriage. She doesn't tell them, hey, well, if you want to get married one day, you got to learn how to cook for your man. You got to learn how to clean the house. You got to learn how to do this, so that you can have a happy relationship. No, they don't learn any of that stuff. Right? They don't learn any of that stuff. Right? Everything that they learn is from from Cardi B or Nicki Minaj or, all these, all these figures, all these celebrities. That's where they get their quote unquote feminine knowledge from. That being feminine is just looking good, having nice hair, showing some cleavage, wearing a skirt. and giving a guy, a good time in the bedroom, that's being feminine. Everything else of the spiritual part of femininity is completely gone. Like they don't understand that part. They never learned it, right? And one of the reasons why so many men go to Asia, the Philippines, and Latin America is because women over there, they are raised to, they are raised to become wives, so that one day they can be a wife and take care of the family and find a good husband, raise children, because that's one of the most important things about life, right? And that's why the passport bros exist. That's why so many dudes go to the Philippines, find a Filipina or a Thai girl, some Asian girl, or Brazil, Colombia. They get themselves a, mamacita over there, one that knows, how to be in a relationship, that was raised, that her parents, her mother taught her how to treat a man, what she's supposed to do. Because a lot of guys, we know what we're supposed to do. A lot of guys know what we're supposed to do. We know that we're supposed to be providers. We know that it's like a God-given thing. We know that we're supposed to be providers. We know that we're supposed to take care of the girl. Okay, we see it all the time in the movies. When the hero has to go and save the damsel in distress. Although nowadays, they're removing that archetype from the movies. Now they're trying to reverse that shit, which is one of the reasons why Hollywood's going down the drain. Let's go back to our video.
In some way. Yeah, submit. And women hate that freaking word. It's crazy. It's really crazy because a lot of these women too also feel like they're faith driven. They believe in God. And if you believe in God and you're a feminist, that's neither here nor there.
I am so glad that she brought this up, because as a man of faith, as a man that believes in Jesus Christ, guess what? I've read the Bible. I'm like, what, 80% through the Bible, I believe. And the Bible itself says in Corinthians and other parts of the Bible, it says that the woman should submit to the man. Now, to be fair, it does say that the man should submit to God, and the woman should, and if the man submits to God, then the woman should submit to the man, right? It's hierarchy. There's a hierarchy. It's God above men, men above women, women above children. That is the hierarchy, and a lot of women don't like that. And they're supposed to be women of God, and when they read this in the Bible, they change it up. It's like, no, that's not what it means. That's not what it means. Oh.
Right? But submitting is like this fearful word in women. It's crazy. You can't just admit a man is right. You can't admit a guy is, doing good or having some idea that you can go off of. Women love to boost their own egos and say that they are the baddest bee in the world. They are that girl, whatever, right? But in that concept, they are belittling everyone. And if any woman is a girl's girl, why would you say you're the only girl in the world? Why would you say that you are that girl? Because you have other friends, right? You have other women that you support and love so dearly. Why would you belittle other women? I just don't get this whole concept. It's contradicting in in the biggest way. That's why they're so afraid of submitting to men, because submission is the opposite of contradicting. It's actually coinciding with someone and believing in them, understanding them, and thus you create more of a personality. You create more of a relatable sense of yourself. You're more relatable if you can submit to someone. And submission is not just, yes, I'll do anything you say. No, submission can be through random people. You do it all the time at work. Think about that. If you work in customer service, if people are giving you a hard time, you submit to them. The customer's always right.
I am really glad that Angry Guy gave me this video to react to, because she's hitting a lot of points here. She's hitting a lot of points. I thought about this before because women go to work, right? They go to school, get a job, work at these corporations for a six-figure salary, right? Or any job, really. They go to work, they listen to a boss. The boss tells them what to do. They do it. No complaints, usually, right? More often than not, there's not much complaint. If you're at a job, you're supposed to do what your boss tells you to do. So they know how to submit, they just don't want to. And the reason why is because their boss is more valuable than their husband, because their job is giving them money, right? So they submit to their job and not to a man because the job is giving them money. So what they really care about is money. Oh my goodness, man. Oh man, I tell you. It gets deeper than that too. It gets deeper than that. The psychology here is absolutely phenomenal.
Why can't we do that in relationships? Why can't we do that in friendships? Why can't we even do that in our own families? We can't ever admit someone else is right. We can't ever admit that, they might be going through something. It's insanity. Insanity. The world is chaotic as it is, and women just stomp on everything. No, I'm right. I am right. I am traumatized. You are only a victim once in this world. Let's make that very clear. Whatever you're going through, times it by 10. There's more people going through more shit than you. So what does your problem matter to the world? It doesn't matter. But that's how they treat men. They treat men like their problems don't exist. Men don't have any problems, right? They've been catered to since the dawn of time. They've had the more salaries. They were able to have the right to vote. I'm talking American here. The right to vote and all of these rights that men had before women, we have them now. So what is the problem? What's the problem? Seriously. Because quite honestly, we lived a much more peaceful life that you claim to say you have. Like, cooking, cleaning, being the housewife, only dealing with the children, and being a woman, basically. And now we have all these rights. We can go any which way we want. And we always pick the worst way, the worst perspective, the worst way to treat people. We think we are everything that we are really not. It's highly inflated ego. The reason we don't talk about men is because we quite honestly wish they didn't exist. I'm not speaking from myself, I'm speaking women as a whole. American women as a whole wish men didn't exist.
She is right. And if you look at the media, if you look at the new movies that are coming out, and if you look at the talking points, and if you look at how they blame everything on man, man this, man that, it's all man's fault, yada yada, freaking yada, right? That's kind of like what they communicate. That's what they communicate. It's like they wish that man did not exist. They wish that there that there were no men. That I don't know, like that the women were the leaders and the men were like the slaves. You know, kind of like it's kind of like they fantasize about a future dystopia where like the women are in charge of everything and then like the men are the slaves, right? And the male, as soon as you were born a male, you were thrown into the coal mines or the construction work, and you would build everything. They will whip you, right? And you'll be responsible for doing all this scrap. And while they sit in their luxury apartments and houses and watch all the men do everything, right? It's almost as if they envision this type of world somewhat. There was actually some novels written with this perspective, like this female fantasy, right? And it's also the fantasy that the feminism has been selling them for such a long time.
I've seen so many videos of women like, oh, if we were to delete anything in the world, what would it be? You know how many comments would be, oh, I think we're all thinking the same thing, right? And I'm a woman. I understand how women speak. I understand their sarcasm. I understand their little bits and pieces of, we all know. We all know. And it's men. We really believe we could run the world without men. There's a reason God created men and women, okay? And if you are a believer in God, if you are a believer in faith, if you are this faith-driven woman that you believe, that you say you are, why would you even say that?
So if you believe in God, if you believe in Jesus Christ and read the Bible, then you would understand that the reason why God created men first, right? God created men first is so that is because men are in charge of the world, right? In the Garden of Eden, Adam, God gave Adam, he put him in the Garden of Eden, and he told Adam to name all the animals, and then Adam will be in charge of like managing the animals and the land and the territory, right? That was the authority that God gave Adam, the first man, the first human, uh, in the very beginning, right? If you go into the new age, right? If you go into the new age, like with like crystals, law of attraction, meditation, the new age, if you go into that sort of spirituality, what they're going to tell you is that, the female came first because, we came from somewhere and the female came first, right? But biblically speaking, the man was created first because somebody has to be in charge of managing the land, you know? That's why the man was created first, and that's why the female depends on the man for resources.
Why would you even believe that? Oh, it's just so crazy because social media, I wouldn't say women or men run the world. Social media runs the world. It runs it. So the point where you don't know what's AI anymore. You don't know what's real, what's fake. It's getting scary. It's getting pretty scary. If you don't have your own train of thought, if you don't have your own belief system, if you are not staying concise with what you truly believe in this world, you can go any which way. You are frolicking like a leaf in the air. That's what you are. That's what we are. Instead of sheep, we are now just leaves. And there's way more leaves than sheep in the world. And they all just they're moved by the air. And women would find this poetic too. Women would be like, "Oh, well, I am this wind and air and nature and all of this. Like, what happened to that? Why do you want to be a boss woman? Why do you want to be career driven?" Like, I don't understand the concept of how contradicting women truly think. Yeah. If no one's going to talk about what men go through, I'm going to talk about it. And I'm not saying I know every single problem a man goes through. I'm not a man. I don't know. So I'm speaking in the perspective of a woman and what I see. And most of it is women's deluded ideas of what men are. And we all just manipulate each other to thinking that we're entitled to this hierarchy. We're entitled to being this feminine, career driven, single, you know, woman who will never have kids. That's what we are telling ourselves. So we don't need men, right? All we need is their sperm. If we wanted to have children, we could just take their sperm and delete them in. That's what we say. That's what we believe. That is crazy. That is like psychotic. What are we, robots? Like, oh, if anyone is going to push forward this AI generated BS, it's going to be women. Because we love to fake it. We love to pretend that things are real. We are so delusional. Men are so logical that why would they agree with AI? There's certain things that, could help us in the world. Like, I beg to differ. We've been doing fine without it. I went through all 4 years of high school, all of middle school without using ChatGPT, without using AI. I think we're fine. We're fine. We don't need it. Nothing can be replaced by the human brain. And the human brain created AI. So, uh,
You see, the funny thing about robots and artificial intelligence is that women say that, women are always trying to find a way to replace men, right? Right? It's okay to replace men, right? They get a dildo, they get all those sex toys, right? But as soon as a man finds a way to replace women, oh, well, we got to pass a law. Everybody, it's morally incorrect to do that. It's morally incorrect to do that, right? The double standards are absolutely amazing.
so yeah, if anyone's going to talk about what men go through, it's going to be me. Yeah. So if you like this video, if you like any of my videos, a lot of them talk about the problems that we go through with masculinity, femininity, dynamics, relationships, all of the above. I talk about it because I'm a very observational person. I get to the point. There's no need to beat around the bush here. It's in your face. You go on social media, it's right there. Any recommended video you have, any viral video, most likely, unless it's, some family video, which are very rare. Family home videos are very rare nowadays, if you think about it. It's kind of how YouTube even came up. Family home videos, where are they? People are so ego driven. They believe that they are bigger than everything. So, yeah, if you like this video, I'm going to be creating more. And it comes from a sense of passion. It comes from a sense of just feeling like I feel for men. I feel for the fact that it's even gotten to this point. And I'm only one girl. I'm only one person.
Now, personally, I really like this video. I'm actually interested in seeing more of her content. So go ahead and give her a follow. Give her a follow. I'm actually thankful for Angie guys sending me this video. She hit a lot of good points. She covered a lot of topics. Again, like, what I want to know if she is, being genuine about her opinions, or is she like one of these YouTubers like Roma Army that they talk about men's issues, but then they have an OnlyFans. Yeah. Yeah, there's actually some female YouTubers that talk about men's problems, but then they have an OnlyFans, right? So they contradict themselves so much. So I'm wondering if she's one of those or if she's being genuine. Because even Pearl Davis, Pearly Things, she she contradicts herself, greatly. She talks about all these, she has all these talking points, which does make sense, but like her life doesn't really reflect on it. And that's why I say that the truth is profitable. That's why there's so many podcasts out there talking, speaking truth, but they don't really live it. They don't really live it. And look, man, I'm gonna be honest. 100% honest with you. I don't really live it myself. I try to, I try to live by my words. But hey, even I screw up. I'm not perfect. Even I screw up on my own words. So yeah, but guys, if you really like this video, if you really like what we had to say today covering this topic, make sure to comment below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for future notifications. It's your boy Andy Matrix. Godspeed.